This is Ion Sullivan. I am Mike McGuire, your host, joined today as we are each week by Rob Doherty, the chairman. Rob, Halloween is upon us.
It's right around the corner.
It's outstanding, and we are continuing today with our series on candidates seeking office in Sullivan County, and very happy to be joined today by the candidate for supervisor in the town of Highland, a beautiful town, Mel Carney. Mel, welcome.
Thank you.
That is a job there's not enough money printed for that.
So Mel, do you get a turnout coat and boots when you run for office in the town of Highland?
We just bring our best to the town hall and see where the chips fall.
Well, I mean, because it's well documented. There is a dumpster fire raging down there. It's a cross between Venezuela and the WWE.
Yeah. There's been some physical contact down there.
We've got some not so incidental contact going on down there, and that's okay because those people are running for office. But Mel, you are looking to save really what's really one of the most picturesque towns in our county.
Thank you.
You got beautiful area in the Eldred, which is truly Americana, Eldred area, and then you drive a little bit further down the road and you get to Barryville, where there are some terrific restaurants and beautiful Route 97 along the Delaware. It's really a wonderful, wonderful town.
I believe it's called the Scenic Byway.
It's actually called the Scenic Byway. That is correct. So Mel, we'll get to the obvious, but once we get beyond some of the tactics of your opponent, what do you see as the challenges that are confronting the town of Highland?
I think number one is the finances. The issue of finances that we know about are bizarre at best, and so I can only imagine what we don't know about.
See, that's always the part that people don't understand, right?
We don't know about.
So it's what you don't know,
Sure.
right? That's always the most dangerous because they can't. They keep trying to beat up the clerk there, right?
Right.
They spent $65,000 on a report. We know that the supervisor, John Putzlato, who's invited on the show anytime he wants to come
Anytime he wants to come on.
has lied about, the tax receipts there because he signed off on them 2 years.
Signed off on them. The treasurer of the county confirmed that all the money was there, present and accounted for.
Correct.
And yet he claims that there's $4 million missing, which would mean that virtually all the property in the town of Highland would be subject to a tax foreclosure.
No, I can't wait for this foreclosure. I mean,
The
I'm
sale
going
is
down
going
there.
to be terrific.
I'm going to buy some property.
There's some great property to buy down there, and you can pick it up probably cheap because there'll be
lots of it.
Lots of it. Lots of it. So let's talk about that. The current town clerk, who's also running against Sonia.
And then now you're
Kidney.
both on the conservative line,
Yes.
correct?
Okay.
Yes.
So you get the town clerk, and there are some allegations of financial mismanagement by the town clerk. But what does the town clerk actually do in terms of procurement and approval of expenditures? Nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing. The chief fiscal officer of the town is whom?
John Putzlato.
John Putzlato, the supervisor, serves as the treasurer. And the person that signed off on the tax receipts and final report that went to the county is
John
John
Putzlato.
John Putzlato. So the person that maybe the Bonadio group should have been looking at is
John Putzlato.
Yeah.
So I do have a question.
But actually, they were looking at him, but they were looking at him to get information. So that probably wasn't the wisest.
Exculpatory information.
Well, maybe they should have went to Sue Hoffman and asked her some questions, which they did not do. Or maybe they should have went to Cooper Arias, a very reputable firm who does the accounting for the town. Maybe they should have went to them, but they didn't go to them either.
And another issue that came up at the last town board meeting was the issue of Andy Boyer and the creation of the Heroes Park and that financial flow through that Bonadio is claiming that it was originally a town account and they switched the numbers and Pizzolatto no longer has access to it. But factually, it was never a town account.
Whoa. We're getting into facts now? Come on,
I know,
Mel.
they're so bothersome.
Never let facts get in the way of a good political narrative.
So Andy Boyer, local attorney, 8-term town supervisor,
Chairman of the Board of Supervisors at one time.
Sends a correspondence in to be read at the town board meeting explaining this. And
explaining what?
That the original bank account for the Heroes Park he created it. His committee created the park itself, and you could not have the town have ownership of that account. It was kind of a pass-through account for donations that came in to pay for the pavers and the banners and all those things.
Right.
And so
the Heroes Park is to honor whom?
Local veterans.
Local veterans.
Yeah.
They have the signs up there
Yeah,
also.
correct.
Yeah.
And we'll take an attack on those also, but go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately. And so Andy Boyer was kind enough to write a letter explaining this, that he had opened the account, and the account was never a town account. It was always separate.
Nor was it ever tax dollars.
Correct.
Nor was it ever specifically town money.
Correct.
It was donated for a purpose to be used in a town park.
Correct.
Where the town doesn't cut the grass.
They will for a fee. But
Well, of course.
the town clerk was not permitted to read the correspondence aloud in the town board meeting. And the town attorney agreed, saying that it's up to the supervisor's discretion if he wants to read the correspondence or not. He opted not to.
But isn't there an item on the agenda that says correspondence?
Correct, but maybe it should say specific correspondence.
Correspondence
Or
that John
correspondence
Pizzolatto
of my
wants you to know
choosing.
about.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
that
then
doesn't make any sense.
No.
he explained that it would be available on the town website. So, of course, we kept checking, and it was not. There was a different correspondence that was posted, but not the one everyone was looking for. And so I foiled the correspondence, and once all that information was out there, you go, that's why it was not to be read aloud, because it explains exactly. So now we paid $65,000 for a report that here's one big error that could have been resolved had they either walked across the street where Andy Boyer lives,
Literally across the street.
literally, or made a phone call. So what does that say about the rest of the report?
So one of the things I remember is the attorney for the town reads the pre-report, right?
This is the preliminary report from the Bonadio.
Correct. So he reads something, that Sue, has been, errant in recording stuff. There's money missing, blah, blah, blah. Then we get the report. I read the report. And nothing that was in the preliminary report is in the report.
Well, the issue of that bank account is in both. Because I did look at that, yeah.
Yeah, so what happened to all the malfeasance that was in the preliminary report that didn't make it to the major report, to the final report?
Perhaps it was resolved in that time period.
Oh, okay.
But that
Well,
created
they only went as
another
far as
issue.
65,000. If they went to 80,000, they might have gotten
Oh,
something.
by the way, did Sue get her computer back yet?
No, and I just checked this morning. So that's what started the brawl at the last town board meeting, because at the end of the meeting, I suggested that since there were no more payments to the Bonadio group, that report was final, and the, I call it the witch hunt, was completed.
What did I call it too?
Yeah.
I don't know why, right? And yet, the town clerk still didn't have her computer. Can you explain why the town clerk doesn't have her computer?
Well, to be fair, she has a computer that has no software on it.
Yeah,
Correct.
she's playing hearts and
Yes.
solitaire, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's funny because I was talking to Rita Sheehan, who's the clerk in
Town of
Bethel for 20 some odd years, and she was like, "This is wild." And she was, Sue had went to a clerks meeting,
Yep.
and was explaining everything, and the clerks who have been, now keep in mind they're duly elected officials,
Right.
And they're all like, "This is crazy."
It's absolutely crazy.
Like it's unheard of what they're doing.
So the report comes out, and it's been well documented on Ion Sullivan what the report said. The report basically said that there was likely some data entry errors because there was actually more money deposited than was recorded as taken in. So either Sue's a philanthropist or there were some bookkeeping errors. But those bookkeeping errors can be in several places. You
Correct.
had the building department taking in money. You had the clerk's office taking in money. You had the bookkeeper for the town taking in money. You had the deputy clerk who was taking in money after
Correct.
they stripped unlawfully the clerk of their responsibilities. So in response to that, they hunker down in an executive session, and they come out half hour, 45 minutes later, and I happen to have been privileged to be present for this meeting. And when they come out, they announce that they're going to address the findings of the report. By now, there must be 2 signatures on each check.
All right.
That's not unreasonable. Now, you're not allowed to speak there when Generalissimo Pizzolatto is in charge. But I thought that it said that there were no bad checks. There was no mysterious checks.
Correct.
There was no issue with any checks. So they addressed something that the Bonadil Group specifically said was not a problem.
Correct.
And took no steps to address, maybe we need one set of bookkeeping. Maybe the clerk should have access to software so that she can do bookkeeping. Maybe the supervisor, who is the treasurer, should oversee the bookkeeping and double check it. They didn't address any of it. Since that wonderful evening when I had a chance to go down there and visit with those nice folks down there, have there been other changes announced to address bookkeeping issues?
Not to my knowledge, but one change.
You go to every meeting.
Yeah. And I record them, which for some reason is a bee in his bonnet. I mean, they're all recorded on the town's website, but my recording of them is problematic. But as you pointed out in your public comment there, it was
Which was cut.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So, and that has never been a tagline on the top of an agenda since or before. So that was strictly for your honor.
Well, I feel privileged.
But, I hate when that happens. Train of thought.
Oh, here we go. It's that Amtrak problem again.
It'll come.
The Amtrak problem?
It's a train of thought.
Oh, here it goes. See? You had pointed out that Sonia Kidney, who is currently running for the town clerk position,
Right.
should have recused herself from all votes pertaining
Oh, are
to
you
the
kidding
town
me?
clerk.
I mean, what she's doing is criminal.
And the town attorney, who's sitting right there, has never said that. So the way to remedy that is Supervisor Pizzolatto created a committee, an emergency remedy committee, and you'll never guess who's on it.
Andy Boyer probably, because he's got the historical perspective of the town. And
John Conway?
Isn't running. John Conway is the historian for the county
And the town, too, I'm
and
sure.
the town.
Yeah.
So those 2 people on, and who's the third? You probably.
No. Sonia Kidney.
I mean, so I said this, and I mean this. If I was Sue Hoffman, I would make Sonia Kidney put this down as an in-kind donation to her campaign.
Oh, there's no question it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
there's no question.
$65,000 in in-kind donation.
So-
That's the only
so-
reason it was done.
So let's say you are a private person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to contribute to a town committee.
Right.
Okay. You're allowed to, I believe it's up to $120,000,
Mm-hmm.
right? But now let's say you donate to a town committee, but then they use that for a county race, right?
Like a DA or the treasurer
Yeah, correct.
or clerk.
So the state of New York, and keep in mind, you're only allowed to donate $2,600
Right.
to the candidate.
Right.
New York State would be so fast, they would come up to you and be like, you can't do this.
Right.
All right? You're not allowed to, bypass the process like this.
Right.
This is what they're doing. They're spending town funds
Correct.
to muddy someone up that Sonia's voting on. And by the way, Sonia, you're invited anytime you want to come
Sure.
on. We're more than happy to have you come on. We'd love to discuss the whole thing with you.
Sure.
So they're just bypassing the process by muddying Sue up, and Sonia, who's trying to get her job, is taking votes on it.
I think it's even worse than simply bypassing, because in your example, somebody gives a donation of $100,000 to a committee, and then the committee can't then give $100,000 to a candidate. But this is taxpayer dollars. This isn't even a donation.
Oh yeah, I know.
This is taxpayer dollars.
Correct.
It's not like it's for something frivolous like to honor veterans. This
no,
is
no,
taxpayer
no.
dollars.
We charge for that.
We charge for that.
Okay.
Right. So it just, to me, it's absolutely remarkable, and it's 100% a campaign donation because John Pizzolatto took office on January 1, 24. Correct?
Yes.
He took office. He ran the same year
Correct.
that you did.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
So he takes office in 24. So I imagine in that first year, he was deeply troubled about some anomalies that he discovered in the clerk's office. And that's why he commissioned this report, because there would be no other reason.
That's not what he did.
That's not what happened?
No, he didn't commission his report till I believe April of this year.
Of 25.
Yeah. A full 16 months into his gig.
Yeah. So he does nothing.
Correct.
He does nothing as the treasurer to try to get a handle on these
I don't
things.
think he even knows what's. Let's back up here. John Pizzolatto, from things he has said, first of all, there was a bond issue where they went and got a bond.
For a truck.
Yeah, without properly getting the proper votes for it. And they went forward with it anyway.
Correct.
Okay? He doesn't understand that, as we a couple of weeks ago when we had Danny Sturm on, we talked about how money works in townships.
A well-run, fiscally
A
well-run.
very well-run town. And by the way, Highland just, 19 months ago, 20 months ago, was a very well-run town.
Well,
Okay?
elections have consequences.
Oh, they do. They do. And let me tell you.
The consequences for the people in the town of Highland have been draconian.
I mean, you're going to take people who, live on fixed incomes down there, between the electric bills, the county taxes, the trash going up, and now you're going to have a town. Has he put up the budget yet?
We haven't started working on the budget yet.
I haven't started.
I started working on it. Oh my! It's due in November.
Correct. So just so you know, if you do not put up a budget, whatever your budget was last year is your budget this year.
This year.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Right.
But budgets are also interesting in the town of Highland. And so now there must have been some investigation by the comptroller's office or someone connected to the comptroller's office that gave him some kind of a rating that he posted on Facebook. And I don't have a social media presence, so I can't speak to the exact facts of it. But he was complimenting himself on getting this rating from their office, a 0, which was the highest rating
Of fiscal stress.
But my understanding is that's based on the budget that was passed by the previous administration.
That's correct.
That's
so,
correct.
So what happened was, so Nancy Buck, the county treasurer, a couple of weeks ago, had posted that the county is free of fiscal stress in 2024, right? So they're not doing this year. So
there's stress this year.
oh yeah.
Oh, the stress.
I met with Nancy Buck for over an hour last week, and she was like, I am so glad I'm out of here. But anyway, so, and we love you, Nancy. But sorry to see you go, but Kathleen, this is going to be a mess. So, so the people who are in the know that was my budget.
Correct.
Right? And all they had to do was follow my budget, right?
Which they didn't do, but
But and now they're living in their budget, and now they have to pay the piper on the stuff that they did, and now that's what's happening down in the town of Highland. So Jeff leaves the budget, and they basically in 2024 run on Jeff's budget, right?
Right.
And meanwhile, then you have Johnny Pizzolatto taking credit, for being free of fiscal stress on Jeff Haas's budget, right?
Correct.
So unlike him.
So
Yeah, so unlike him.
So who we affectionately call Donnie, and so he's sitting there taking credit on something that he didn't do.
Nothing to do with it.
Right, but meanwhile, the stuff that he does wrong, he's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't me. That was that person. Or
Yeah.
that person." He's more and more like Kamala Harris every day. He just starts to keep pointing
He
fingers.
just keeps pointing fingers. that finger works,
Yeah.
and he will take the credit and pass on the blame.
Correct.
So, Mel, how do we fix this town after January 1?
That's a really interesting question because the budgeting process itself last year, and he knew of this because I attended all the budget meetings and pointed out the fact that this bond that he got fraudulently, he had not included the $85,000 payment that was due in July.
What? We have to include payments now?
Now,
Well,
let's go back because although I got to tell you,
This
day
is
or so ago,
this is almost unbelievable.
it's almost unbelievable. A couple of days ago, I had an appointment in the jail, and or in the sheriff's office, and I knock on the door. I go in. One of the deputies is taking me over to the sheriff's office, and he tells me, he says, "I grew up in Fallsburg. I live in Fallsburg, but I'm riveted by the town of Highland now because of Ion Sullivan." So people are watching, but to those who are only recently introduced to Ion Sullivan, and be sure to leave us a comment and let us know. And Sonia Kidney, come on up. We got a chair ready for you, and John Pizzolatto. But let's for those who are new to our airwaves, our audience, let's go over what this bond was. What happened there?
So the previous administration had set
Donnie
aside Donnie Haas.
Right,
the
that's my
real.
man.
Oh no, he's not the real.
No. Your son-in-law is the
Donnie.
real
Son-in-law
John.
is the real Jeff Haas.
They had set aside $300,000. There were 2 trucks that were being purchased for the highway.
Oh, so these are big trucks, the kind they plow the roads with.
Yeah. So
Right.
the cash was there. There was going to be additional funds coming from ARPA funds that would make the balance of the payment. And so when Johnny took office, he thought it was a wiser thing to bond the trucks, so we weren't in a bind moving forward. Was
It's always good to go into debt.
when you don't have to.
It's
Absolutely.
it's always wise.
Your husband suggests that all the time, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So I did point out when they took the vote that the bond council sent a cover letter that said you are required to have a supermajority vote to pass this bond. For your board, that means 4 votes.
Right. It's 5 on the vote board. You need 4.
Attached to the bond council letter is the sheet that shows the 3 votes that voted yes for the bond. He maintained that my daughter, Councilwoman Haas, a week before at a town board meeting had voted for it.
A week before.
What?
Is that when we vote?
So
Don't we vote after the motion, second, discussion,
and
then vote?
when you listen to the recording of the meeting, as I pointed out to our town attorney recently, because you'll never guess, but they did have to amend that resolution a year later after we have received the bond and purchased the trucks. Now we're going to amend the resolution that allowed us to get that.
And meanwhile, the payments for that bond that you've had for a year are not currently in any budget.
Correct. But it doesn't matter because the $300,000 was put in a high interest account, so the payment is coming from that account.
So you get
So
6%?
apparently it doesn't matter. I think he says 6%.
Yeah, okay. So that's common
But my
in
contention was
municipalities.
it doesn't really matter where the payment money is coming from. You still have a debt that should be on the books.
Correct.
No, not so much.
Well,
and
you don't have a
also-
lawful debt because you don't have 4 people vote for it.
Right. So I believe the bond council, after many, emails, phone calls to them, just looking for an explanation because nobody wants to dirty anybody's reputation, but explain to me how this was possible. Mm-hmm. There's no response. So now, a year later, he's looking to get another bond. So we have not a lot of money and a lot of debt. Not a good way to start.
Well, he didn't start that way.
No, he didn't.
No, Donnie Haas.
that way.
Donnie Haas left him in very good shape.
Yeah. So apparently the bond council wanted to rectify the mistake that had been made the year before, and so they must have insisted that the resolution be amended. It's a different board, and the resolution was passed and acted on a year prior. And our town attorney had nothing to say.
That's crazy to me.
That's crazy. And let me ask you this: did the town make any payments on that bond before the resolution was amended?
Yeah, because the payment was
So
due in
who
July.
would have signed those checks? Sue Hoffman?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I think it was Johnny Pizzolatto.
Probably was Johnny Pizzolatto. So he was
Fraudulently
Johnny
signed
Pizzolatto
checks.
was signing checks, spending tax dollars that were not legally appropriated.
Correct.
So he was essentially misappropriating public funds,
Essentially, yes.
while he was accusing Sue Hoffman of misappropriating town funds, public funds, And after he paid $70,000 to the Bonadillo group and learned that there was more money than had been accounted for. And his answer was, we got to have 2 signatures on the checks. Hey, Johnny, I agree with you. We need 2 signatures on the checks because I'm not sure that you are appropriate to be making a determination alone to sign checks.
I agree with that.
I mean, maybe there should have been 2 signatures on those checks.
Correct.
But look at the second signature.
It'd be Sonia Kindi. Yeah, right. 2 peas in the proverbial pod.
Well, she's not. Is she the assistant supervisor?
She's the deputy.
supervisor.
Oh, she is. Okay.
Yeah, she's deputy supervisor.
So you have 2. So wait, hold on. So you have. So and she's trying to run for the clerk's position, correct? And that's what this is all about muddying up Sue Hoffman.
Correct.
So then I remember in the Bondia report, well, online I had read that they were trying to muddy Sue up on these DEC tags, correct? And then in the Bondia report, they said there was no problem with the DEC tags.
Specifically, no issue. They had alleged, which is really remarkable to me. They had alleged that she was having tags sent to a third-party address. The inference being that she's selling tags out of the back of her house. Okay. So where did that allegation come from? Because the Bonadillo group looked into it and said, yeah, no, that's not happening. So who is the person that commenced that rumor?
But here's my thing. So we don't know who started that rumor.
Correct.
We have no proof whatsoever.
Correct.
So we're just making allegations.
Right.
Okay. And then we're spending tax dollars to go after those allegations. Because I'm sure Bondio charged them to figure that out.
There's no doubt they charged him about $65,000 to $70,000.
Well, and that by itself is probably a couple of $1,000 investigation.
Probably.
Because it probably took a couple
also,
of...
the preliminary report was reviewed by the town attorney. So besides the $65,000,
He read it out loud.
Embellished by the town attorney.
And so their report on the bond, and that's what I thought, for $65,000, you can't get a report that's understandable enough without then paying the town attorney to review it and give you his opinion?
Yeah, you don't need his opinion, just read it.
But we got it. And I'm sure we paid for that as well.
then the River Reporter, that genius Paula Campbell, no laughing at people, okay?
Well, we also can't confirm that letters that are given particular signatures are actually from the signatory. That's questionable.
Whoa. Wait, back up.
Whoa.
So people are sending in letters under someone else's name.
Well, it wasn't sent anyway, and that was one of the issues. The correspondence that was put on the town website was attached, so it had to be from someone who could access the town website. It wasn't a letter that someone took a picture of and posted on the town website. It was linked. And so I could say a lot of not so wonderful things about Paula Campbell, but I will say she's a decent writer.
Who by the way,
not so decent.
Who by the way got caught stealing election signs.
Yeah, I bought a lot just in case.
Yeah. Well, you should put some air tags in some of them.
You never know.
Follow them.
Yeah, and you'll find out real fast. The sheriff does that. He put some and they caught people, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, stealing signs. I mean, he has 1,000 signs throughout the county, and you happen to pick up, there's 15 air tags.
It's bad luck for you.
Yeah, I mean, the odds are against you getting caught, and you got caught.
So, all right, so the town decides that they're going to float a bond for this truck and not pay cash for it. Okay.
Even though they have the cash.
Had. I'm not sure they still have.
The law says, and the bond counsel is your attorney that's handling that bond transaction, says, here's the bond, you need 4 votes. And they go the night of the vote, and how many votes do they get?
3.
And they send that on to the bank or to the
bank,
to the bond.
Yeah.
It goes back to the bond counsel, yeah.
And nobody says anything.
Well, apparently I have been labeled as making a fuss at the bank because initially the bond was going to be held through Jeff Bank.
Right.
And after this inaccurate vote, I went over to the Jeff Bank to say, who do I speak to about this bond? Because they're trying to pass a bond with 3 votes, and it says it's required to have 4. And
Right.
then they explained that they're just kind of the pass-through. There's somebody else that, but that, I said thank you, and then I went on to direct myself to the bond council, and that was making such a brouhaha. Now, I don't know what ensued after that between the town supervisor and the bank, but they ended up going to a different bank. And I was very
probably because
proud.
the bank said, we can't give you any money on this.
Who knows? But I just said I was very proud to keep them out of this circus because, I mean, if you are going to legitimately do something in the town, it's one thing, but that just was very underhanded.
Okay, so we get a bond, he's paying for the bond, and he's paying it improperly. When I was at the meeting a couple weeks back...
For 2 minutes.
Well, I got to speak for 2 minutes. I had to wait an hour and a half.
Do you remember in the county when we used to let people talk for 5 minutes?
Oh, my God.
And they would like, oh, you're a dictator, you know. Yeah, I never got called a Nazi, but, well, not to my face or not in public. But I'm sure behind, you know, I was told I was a despicable person, though.
Correct.
Because
I'm a disgusting person, so no wonder we get along.
Okay.
Oh, it's disgusting and despicable.
Yeah. So they, so that was at 5 minutes, right? Because you got 3 minutes and a minute, right?
Right.
So he cut it down to 2, and I've never heard of 2 minutes before.
Never.
It
So
was-
you
it
were
was never
suppressing
before.
free speech.
Yeah, what?
It was never done. It was only on the agenda for that particular meeting.
Okay.
So you regularly were accused of suppressing people's right to free speech.
Okay.
And I guess the First Amendment is only relevant to speech that we agree with.
Correct.
So all of that whole line of cases where the United States Supreme Court upheld the Nazis' right to protest and speak in Illinois, that's where that was, I guess that really wasn't accurate.
Well, according to Charlie Kirk, there is no hate speech,
Correct, yeah.
right? That's what he says. He says there's no hate speech.
There's no hate speech.
You-
There's
you gotta-
only speech.
There's only speech, and you know, you do what you know,
It's
you
protected.
Yeah.
And nothing is protected more than political speech, and except in the town of Highland.
Well, in Town of Highland, you're not allowed to talk.
Not allowed to talk at all, and you're certainly not allowed to disagree
They have,
Definitely
with
cannot
the
ask a
Ayatollah of the
question.
Delaware.
yeah, and you cannot ask a question.
No. Under any circumstances. And I understand, now I don't know this for a fact, but I am told, I remember being an attorney for a municipality, and I'm an attorney for a municipality now.
Yeah.
And I get calls all the time from members of the board, from department heads. How do we handle this? How do we handle that? What's the proper protocol here? And that's, in my office, they know that's a priority call because the town must go on.
Correct.
And I know in the county, we spent all day speaking to commissioners and all legislators. Well, some we never saw. There was some in 4 years we never saw them except on Thursday mornings. My understanding is that the town attorney told one of the 5 members of the town board, "Oh, you're not allowed to speak to me."
Correct.
He wouldn't answer a call.
Correct.
Only at the board meetings.
Only at the board meetings. You can't call him. That's remarkable because the work of the town doesn't only occur on the first and second Tuesday nights of the month.
So, but here's the problem with that. Other town board members are allowed to speak to him. Just
So
that
you run
one.
for a specific verbal seat.
Correct. So that one council person is not allowed to talk to him, but everyone else is allowed to talk to him.
And what's unique about that one seat? I would run for a different seat.
Well, that's not how it works, but I understand that. So, I mean, you know, the town attorney needs to understand that you work for the board as a body, you know, as a corporate body.
And each of the 5 represent a constituency.
Correct.
So I guess that constituency is not. Is this kind of like when you go on an airplane and you upgrade and you get a better seat? So you can, in the town of Highland, you upgrade and you get the
Yeah, I guess
the
so.
attorney privileges.
I guess so.
mean, that's to me is remarkable. You don't have to agree with the person, but the law is the law. You need to be able to.
So, besides finances, what are the other issues in the town of
The law.
the law? Oh, that's a problem.
Well, I understand the town of Highland had a constable
Yes.
division, and that was disbanded. I guess under Donnie Haas.
Donnie Haas.
That was disbanded, and they entered into a contract, which the chairman and I were instrumental in putting together.
Correct.
To ensure that the town of Highland had a dedicated sheriff's patrol on duty
For the exact same hours
that the constables.
that the constables were working, and they got it at a cost savings of what they were paying before.
Right. So they had
And there's no liability to the town.
no
Zero.
liability to the town. Was there liability from the other constables to the town?
There was some
I don't
liability there.
understand that.
There were questionable things, and so as I was discussing this on my campaigning, someone had said they didn't like how the constables were handled, and I said, well, there were liability issues that came about once this whole investigation started, and to protect the privacy of those employees as well as protecting the town from a liability concern, they felt it was wisest to disband the constabulary. And someone said, well, I don't want to know what was going on. I'm like, but that is a luxury the town board cannot afford.
Well, that's the issue, is that determined decisions were made. Nobody said that the constables in Highland did a bad job or were dishonest, but they're peace officers, not police officers.
Correct.
And now you have the sheriff's office down there with a dedicated car. This is not a car that's going to patrol. This is a dedicated car that's down there. And they now have all of the power and authority and resources of the sheriff's office basically there.
Correct.
Way more than the constables ever
And,
had.
and so one of the problems that they have in Highland is there's a lot of people who pass through that town in the drug trade.
Sure.
Because Pennsylvania's right there. It's it's very easy to go through, and the whole idea is to have the sheriff's department there instead of just having a peace officer.
Right. And so now, where are we? I understand that's a campaign issue. I understand that they want to do a referendum.
It's on the ballot.
It's on the
my
ballot
understanding for November.
bring
And
back.
there was someone who was brought into the last town board meeting to give a presentation on how he could get grants for training and that
Stop
he's
with the grants.
established a number of constabularies at no cost to the town. And as is always the case, you have to further investigate anyone that Supervisor Pizzolatto brings in to push his agenda. And apparently we're having a little difficulty confirming that he is ex-NYPD, as he said, and also having a little difficulty confirming that he actually was able to get all these grants to establish constabularies in other towns. So
you can't look up their pay records, like on New York lookup. I mean, you can't see, but you can foil his jacket.
right.
So you can foil from NYPD, and they'll be more than happy to give you. They love giving out the jackets to the police officers, unfortunately.
So where do you see that vote coming down? I mean, are the people in the town prepared to? It's
really
not
hard
going
to
to be
tell.
cheap. When somebody says that we're going to get it for free, be suspect.
Okay. I mean, the one thing that they never talk about is legacy costs.
Sure.
Right. So now they're town employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pay them, and you have to pay payroll tax and all the taxes involved in it. They have cars.
You got to maintain cars.
You have to maintain cars. They have to
They have to
have
be
equip-
insured.
They have to be insured. There's equipment involved, blah, blah. And then those people retire at one point.
Sure.
Okay. And then you are paying them for the rest of their existence.
And you've got to identify people, and you've got to have a hierarchy of officers, and you've got to have an office, and you've got to have staff. I mean, it's a lot.
And if there's a town government that you have already seen weaponize other parts of the government, can you imagine if they had their own police department? It's frightening.
It'd be like Joe Biden's world again.
Well, I mean, this supervisor has threatened property owners in the town of Highland with the state police.
Oh, he has said, I'm going to come over there with the state police.
Yeah.
I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand who you are that you'd come over to my house.
And fortunately, the state police under Captain Kroger's watch
Yeah.
are not going to be.
He's not playing that game with Kroger.
They're not going to play those games with the supervisor of the Town of Highland, because he did get them involved in the Sue Hoffman situation when bringing them
Twice.
down there twice to seize computers, and they were like, "Well, what are we seizing them for?"
Correct.
Oh, she's been doing illegal stuff. Well, do we have a search warrant? Because we can't look at them, and we really shouldn't be taking them. Well, they're town property. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we could take them with your permission, but we can't look at them.
Correct.
And he didn't worry about that. He had it given to the town attorney, and then I don't know what they did with it because we haven't seen it.
Yeah, you're getting all caught up in the law again, Mike.
Yeah, all caught up. So the bringing back the constables is an issue. They've been only gone for a couple of years, and the town.
Now this is a town that is going to have a serious tax hike. Okay, and you want to add more expense to that when you have the full power of the sheriff's department already there at a cheaper price?
Have we seen a marked increase in crime as a result of the constabulary being disbanded?
Not to my knowledge, but you can always find statistics for what you would like to prove.
There are statistics. Oh no, there's lies, damn lies, and then statistics.
I don't feel any less safe. So for whatever that's worth, it's I think it's presentation. It was a really as the supervisor presents it, we want to get back to Mayberry RFD. And unfortunately, that ship has sailed.
He would have to move out of town for that to happen. I mean,
yeah. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was he that moved us away from Mayberry RFD.
Correct.
That's really what the town was before. You had neighbors that were friendly and people could speak to their representatives.
Yeah.
People weren't shut up. I mean, that night with the 2 minutes, there was only 3 speakers. So what he did was he saved the town
3 minutes.
3 minutes. 3 minutes is what he saved the town.
But you misrepresent, because he's not saving the town. He's saving himself. And that, I think, is what I find most reprehensible. He's not in this for the town. He's in this for himself. And from day one, his business currently has no violations. No work was done to make it a restaurant when it was a gas station.
Well, that's
that
outstanding.
He purchased.
Well, BJ Ghetto.
35 violations, but they are gone.
That's good. I'm glad we cleared them up. And then when we bought
that lovely building for 200% increase. It's still standing. It's still an eyesore.
So when that building was sold, bought by the town. Okay.
Shortly thereafter, the supervisor paid down $47,000 of his unpaid sales tax debt.
Well, that is fantastic. I'm glad that worked out for everyone.
Yeah.
He must have hit in the lottery.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Nothing to see here. Keep moving. Just keep moving. So that was the other issue. So there's the house there on the corner of Proctor Road and 55. They were buying that house because he needed a parking lot. Of course, there's a parking lot and supermarket right across the street.
For 17 spaces.
It was initially 20. It was 20 for a few meetings, and then suddenly it was 8. And the councilman who introduced it as 20 spaces went, no, it's 20. And the supervisor corrected him, no, it's 8. So we were going to purchase it for...
The whole turning radius is a kind of
You're on a county road.
Yeah,
when they first introduced it, everybody's like, what are these people looking at? There's no way. Yeah, so it went down to 8 spaces, and now there's a questionnaire that was sent out from the comprehensive plan that the supervisor is doing. And in that comprehensive plan, one of the questions is, what would you like to see done with the property of 564 State Route 55?
I'd like the parking lot that you told me that you were going to do.
Well, I believe it's already been voted on, and I believe there's a resolution that states it's going to be 8 parking spaces. But again, we don't have any rules. So we can amend that. Probably 5 years from now, we can amend that and make it something different.
But that house has to come down first.
Well, now it's just liability to the town because it's not down.
Right.
And so, God forbid, something happens.
And there's an expense to the town to take that down.
Yeah, but we got a grant.
Okay.
We got a grant.
Well, I believe that they put out a bid and the bid was won at $55,000, and they got a grant for $25,000. So I've been told I'm pretty good with numbers, but so let me do some math here. You still owe $30,000 to get this thing down.
No problem.
Okay.
We have a $65,000 Bonadio report not budgeted. No worries. So now $30,000. Don't worry about it.
So it's not
And then
budgeted.
we're going to bring the constables back. Not a problem.
So we're gonna start spending people into oblivion in a town that has burned through a fund balance that was left to them, and still doesn't have a budget ready to go. And we're on the cusp of October.
And in last year's
Cusp of November. Excuse me.
In last year's budget, the supervisor included $250,000 of grant awards in revenue. So mostly grants are you spend it and we give it back to you.
Correct. That's how it works.
They're not revenue. So now he is not allotted the $250,000 on the expense side for the money you have to first put out.
Correct.
But he is touting that he got $250,000 worth of grants, which is useless because there's not going to be $250,000 for the town to put out to get that money back.
That's how it works. Correct.
And it's so we can upgrade the courthouse.
Well, that
Well,
can use some upgrading, but
I thought Aileen Gunther gave them a grant for that.
That's it. That's
Okay.
the $250,000 grant.
Okay.
she gave him $250,000 to fix up that building.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, good for Aileen. So you talked about Heroes Park, and whenever I go down that way, I come down 55. If I turn left to go off to Lumberland, or if I go straight to the courthouse in the Town of Highland, there's these magnificent banners that hang on the telephone poles and light stanchions along the way. And I find myself slowing down because many of the names are people, families that I've known for many years over my 30 plus years being here in the county and being involved in sports. And there's lots of names of people, and some that I've prosecuted, some that I've defended, but lots of athletes. And it's just great. It's great to see the names up there. And so we're paying for a bond that we're not properly writing those checks. We spend $65,000 on a Bonadio report, unbudgeted. And we have another $35,000 that was unbudgeted, and we're going to bring back the constables. And so the meeting I was at, the public works guys had volunteered their time because and they had this image that to me was like, oh my God, of these veterans who were standing on a ladder in the back of a pickup
But
truck.
they did it.
Hanging these things up, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you're going to see these guys that survived the war, survived Vietnam, coming home, being spit on, and here they are trying to honor other people's family members, and someone's going off this truck, and then the town's getting sued.
Correct.
So the public works guys donated their time on a Saturday and a Sunday to hang these things. But they knew enough not to stand on a ladder in the back of a pickup truck, so they rented a lift.
They actually were not on ladders in the back of the pickup truck. A couple of people had donated the use of their bucket trucks.
Okay, bucket trucks.
Yeah.
All right. So we have that. So I'm really happy about that. I'm thinking, you survived D-Day and you're gonna go on Route 55. You're gonna get knocked down. So public works guys volunteer their time, which is tremendous, and we rent a lift to be able to put these things up. And then the bill comes at this meeting is $1,200.
Yep.
And they had a discussion about that and mowing the lawn at Heroes Park kind of melded into one discussion.
Okay.
And fill us in, Mel. They under no circumstances are we paying this $1,200. That's where we draw the line. The veterans we draw the line at.
Well, it was presented as though the supervisor didn't have any idea who ordered the lift.
Okay.
Now, the person who's the head of the highway department had already left the meeting, but of course he knew that he would have ordered it for his guys.
Of
but
course.
That was making it
So
questionable.
now he's going to be personally on the hook for this thing.
So he's maintaining they're just not going to pay it. They just can't pay bills that people just bring in without.
So the head of the highway department's going to wind up ultimately having to pay this lift. He ordered it.
Who knows?
He didn't have authority. But
Who knows?
So the board votes to not pay the bill.
Their discussion was back to this bank account that's there for Heroes Park and the
Right.
expenses. There's a $5,000 balance in that, which is supposed to be for eternal care.
Perpetual
of the park.
care.
Right. So he's suggesting they use that money to pay for the lift, but it's really not what it's for.
Right.
And I found it to be a really reprehensible discussion. And so I just said, I'll pay for the lift. My father is one of those banners.
Sure.
There's so many of my friends and neighbors who have people who are represented.
And
on
there's
there.
lots of Haas's, which is your extended family.
Lots of Haas's. There's just so many local people. And
Right. They're all local people.
it was just, to me, such an embarrassment that this was even a discussion. And then the discussion about mowing the lawn. I'm like, let's add insult to injury. Well, if they don't want to pay for the lift, then we'll back charge them for mowing the lawn.
Right.
Most of the Heroes Park is pavers that people donated funds
And
to.
the names are imprinted
Yeah,
on
yeah. And so there's about 10 feet of grass. I could bring my lawnmower down there and mow the grass in 10 minutes, but you can't because it's town property. So
Right.
they have to maintain it. And so the whole discussion to me was just so offensive that I just wanted it over. Like, this should not come up again. Let's just make it go away.
These are people who put their lives on hold to defend the rights of people like John Pizzolatto.
To cut you down to 2 minutes.
Cut me down to 2 minutes.
Correct.
Literally, my father's graduating class graduated Eldred Central School and shipped out.
Yeah.
So now you think about the school is a half a mile up the road, and there's just too much history here and too many people that we really care about.
See,
That touches home because my dad graduated on a Saturday and was on a train to Jacksonville, Florida for the war
Yep.
on Monday.
Yep.
Literally one day later.
Yeah.
well, that's crazy to me. So what happens? So who?
Well, after
what
a few
happens?
days, the check is not cashed, so I call the town
So
clerk's
you make a
office.
donation.
Yes.
To pay for it.
Yeah. And I wrote specifically to pay this particular bill because I know my people. And so the town clerk had said that there was some issue that it could be a litigation problem. They couldn't take the check. And then the deputy town clerk said there was some discussion about going back to the company to have the bill amended so it was less than, so they couldn't use it. And I'm like, I got it. You're not
The
taking
deputy
the check.
town clerk, like, what authority does she have?
She works for the town clerk.
Right.
Well,
It is what it is.
well, as people always say, he can't do that. He can't. I'm like, can we stop saying that?
Right,
Because
'cause he keeps doing it.
shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And
Correct.
yet he does do it, and there's no repercussions.
And that's what it should be. It should be he shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
But he continually just flouts the law.
Right.
I mean, and all social norms. I
Yeah.
mean, they just do what they want to do down there.
Absolutely.
So you make a donation, they never cash the check.
Correct.
So they're worried about litigation. Yeah, litigation is going to be when the company sues the town for paying for the lift.
So did they give you the check back?
I took it back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And did the lift ever get paid for?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
Now it's not my worry.
Not
That's
your
my
worry.
campaign money.
There you go. That's your campaign money. All right. So let's, in the time we have left, you've grown up in the town. You
No,
graduated.
I always explain myself as a half-breed. My father was born and raised in Glen Spey. He's from Lumberland originally. He's on the monument across from the town hall in Lumberland, as well
Nice.
as flying high in the town of Eldred.
All right.
Yeah, but my mother was that city girl that would come up in the summer. So I always say I do believe my grandmother ultimately forgave her son for marrying a city girl, but we had a foot in each world. So I was raised in Brooklyn, and we were here every summer. And
Okay.
then we ended up retiring up here and moving full-time in 2013.
Okay. So your vision for the town, your platform going forward in the minutes we have left, let's give the voters in the town of Highland an idea of how much better their lives and their town is going to be with you at the helm as opposed to Mr. Pizzolatto. And we understand, we have well documented about the renegade nature of Mr. Pizzolatto. But taking all of that aside, what are you going to bring to the town of Highland?
Well, I always say, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to see a huge change because I think what's going to be required to balance the finances is going to limit us in every way. I don't think there's much that we're going to be able to do to right the ship.
So what are you going to do about the finances? Because the finances are going in the wrong direction right now.
Well, I can't really say until I see them. You know what? Now, first of all, if we have a debt, it will be included in the budget, and if we have grant awards, they will not be included in the budget. So there's that swing.
Oh, you'll use simple
Basic accounting.
Yeah, that's nice. That'd be new.
Yeah. So now we have, he also gave, when he was first elected, our highway department has a 5-year contract. So their contract, I think, goes up 5% this year. So there's some things that are just not negotiable. And so we just have to deal with what's right in front of us. And
So if the tax cap's 2.5, he's given out double that amount in raises. And then I'm sure he included, their payment for their contribution to healthcare. No.
Listen, don't bring up things that you know the answer to.
Oh.
No. Yeah.
Don't confuse me with the facts.
Yeah. So there's really, the town has a lot of issues before it. My hope is to just keep it afloat. That's what I'm hoping we're going to be able to do, because I really think things are pretty bad.
I mean, unfortunately, sometimes you just got to tighten the belt and
Right.
and get through the
Right.
situation.
So essentially, I'm offering myself up to be the bad guy. I also realize it's just a 1-year term this time out because of the changes to the New York state law. So I've already presented it to younger people. Like, this is your community. You
Right.
have to get involved. And so
I agree.
I would like to establish a relationship with the high school. I think we should make it that you can't graduate high school if you're 18 and you have not registered to vote. Because I think now what's going to be so important in this election is people turning out to vote. There were 200 mail-in ballots the last election, and that's what put Mr. Pizzolatto in office.
Oh, I'm aware.
And legally in New York State, the powers that be, it does not have to be your primary residence. You just have to own property.
No. You just need a residence.
It's got to be a
Right.
residence,
Right.
not just
So
property.
you
It's
can
got to be a
legitimately
residence.
vote in the town.
I mean, you could have. I believe the law is you just have to have the expectation of returning to that
Right.
town.
But that's where you have an affinity to, and your expectation is to return. We should talk about the young people, and we a month or so back, 6 weeks ago, I guess, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on a college campus. No question, he was assassinated because of what he believed and what he was espousing. And what he believed was the future is the young people.
Yeah.
And he went to the young people and he said, basically, convince me I'm wrong. Here's my position on this. And a parade of people come up to the microphone. So you're smart to say we've got to go to these young people. But how do you capture those young people who are still at the Eldred Central School and eligible to vote this year? Have you spoken to the folk,
No,
to the
but
kids there?
I'm wondering if the school would allow it. I don't know what, because they keep.
I mean, I'm sure they have some sort of civics class.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the hope
civics.
would be
That might make them the only high school in the country. Yeah, it's something we have to investigate, because it really is. It's up to the voters. Like, if you do not turn out to vote, the decision's made. It's so important this year.
So the question is that you've got someone that continues to do things that they should not be doing.
Correct.
And suppressing anybody who wishes to express an opinion that differs from his, and attacking, weaponizing taxpayer dollars against political opponents. That's really the stark contrast that the folks in the town of Highland have this year. Is essentially what you're saying is we've got to restore government by the people and for the people.
Correct.
As opposed to for some particular person and some particular political ideal. And we've got to continue to make these towns cost effective so that young people can raise their children
Correct.
here. And, it was not that long ago that the chairman took a very, very hard line and saved both the town and the Eldred School District with the Millennium Pipeline, and that contract is coming up.
Correct.
And someone's going to need to deal with that yet again, because they could be looking at a $10 million reduction in
Correct.
their assessment or more, which would essentially close the Eldred School.
Correct.
There's no question about that. And the chairman worked tirelessly, and trust me when I tell you, drove my office to get this done and
True.
not only get it done, but he says, and by the way, we need a 5-year plan. Oh, Rob, you understand the way I know you haven't been around in politics, but these are always under a 3-year term. Yeah, I don't care.
Correct.
In fact, he used other words. I don't give a hoot. It's going to be a 5-year because this town has got to have stability and they got to have
Correct. And
peace
then,
of mind going
and
forward.
then the other issue was the clawbacks, right? So
Right.
Generally, so they were comparing us to the Hancock and the Minnesink stations.
Yeah.
And I was like, we can't have that comparison because we're going to lose.
Correct.
Right? And so the arbitrator saw it our way, and they deemed them to be by itself. And then we were able to negotiate a 5-year term, which and no clawbacks. Because if there was clawbacks, you're going to go to a school system that doesn't have any money. They had just went through some tough times themselves.
Clawback, so our audience don't understand, is that when you file a tax certiorari, it may take a year or more to settle.
Correct.
And generally what happens if they get a reduction, that reduction is retroactive
Correct.
to the day they filed. So that even with the reduction, they get less money coming in going forward. But they would have to pay
Correct.
the company back for overpayment of taxes. So not only did the chairman say we want this to be 5 years, but no clawback. I said, let me get this straight. You want us to do something that isn't done in the state, and you want us to do something that the law says that they're entitled to have.
Correct.
Is that all? Yeah. Anything else? He said, that's it.
That's it.
Go do your job.
We won that.
And he won that. And the chairman sat in every negotiating session and was like, nope, it's not happening. We're getting a 5-year deal. And he did.
And I always got that. I don't think you understand how this works.
Right.
So when we were sitting in all 8 union contracts that we settled, also, the professional negotiator always said, "I don't think you understand how this works." I was like, "I don't think you understand how this works because this is how we're doing it right now."
And the only sure thing in life is change.
Correct.
Well,
Right.
you know what he
We gotta
said.
Wrap it up.
All right. So, Mel, last words. What's the last message that you want to send? Because early voting has started. The election is
Correct.
in another week. What's the message to the really nice people in Highland?
Please vote. I can't stress it any more than that. Please vote.
Vote for
Your
sanity.
town depends on you.
Correct. See, that's the problem. I mean, Town of Bethel, we're pretty good voters, but we're only a little bit over 50%.
Right.
800 people voted in the last election. There's 2,500 people in the town.
That's a third.
Yeah.
Less than a third.
So if you
But
choose
but
not to vote, that's a choice.
Correct.
That's a choice.
That's what Rush said. If you
means
make no decision, you're still making a decision.
Correct.
elections have consequences.
That's right.
And don't have the consequences be just by attrition.
Correct.
So, once again, we want to remind our audience and remind Ms. Kidney and Mr. Pizzolatto that the seat is here. Jacob's got the temperature regulated in here now. The
Thank
snow
God.
hasn't started to fall yet. We want to get you in here before. The election is a week away. This is your opportunity, Mr. Pizzolatto, to come up here and explain to us why we are wrong and anybody else. You want to leave us a comment? Leave us a comment. You want to drop us a line, ionsullivan@gmail.com. That's EYE, unsullivan@gmail.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, take a moment right now before you take another sip of your favorite beverage or a bite of your favorite sandwich and
Smash.
that like button. And we want to subscribe. We want to get the subscriptions up to 1,000 because this is going to be the forum for the folks in this county to express their views and participate live with us as we are able to stream live and have an open discussion with folks in the county. So you want to subscribe and you want to share the link, the whole link, please, not just excerpts, so that we, unlike others, we want people to hear this message, and we're being stopped by more and more people. Fortunately, they're not in black and white cars. And we are being told that they appreciate Ion Sullivan. The message is getting out. So, folks, we want you to get out there and vote. Get out there and vote. Use your right, the most critical right that you have, the right that protects all other rights, is the right to vote. If you elect not to vote, you are electing not to have your voice or opinion heard in the most significant way. So, we want to thank Mel for joining us. We wish you the best of luck with the election next week. On behalf of the chairman, Rob Doherty, I am Mike McGuire, thanking you for joining us and invite you to join us next week for another episode of Eye on Sullivan.